Hi everybody, it is Kathryn back today with another poetry pop-up, and today we're going to be making a haiku hangable. So this is just a little hangable design that you can put in your room or on a doorknob or something like that, just to show off the poem that we're going to be creating today. So as far as supplies, this one's pretty simple again, so you're just going to need some type of cardstock or cardboard. I used an old cereal box. You're going to need scissors, yarn, and then whatever art supplies that you're going to have just laying around your house. I use water-based markers and colored pencils, but you can really use anything that you have laying around. And then the last thing that you need for this is actually going to be a specific kind of poem. Now, if you wanted to use one that someone else has written, that's perfectly fine, and you can display that one, or you can write one yourself. So we're going to be doing a haiku today, and that is a traditional form of Japanese poetry. The poems have 3 lines, and there's a very specific syllable count to each line. So the first line of a haiku has 5 syllables, and then the second line of a haiku has 7 syllables, and the third line has 5 syllables again. Haikus are usually about nature, and I'm going to give you an example that I have written. So the first line is cerulean sky, 5 syllables, darkens into pitchiest black, 7 syllables is the second line, and then day becomes the night. So that's 5 more syllables. And so that poem without the syllable count going on is cerulean sky, darkens into pitchiest black, day becomes the night. And then I'm going to be using another haiku for my actual example.
Okay, so the first thing you want to do to get your cardboard ready is you want to figure out what shape you want. You can do any shape, and you can choose to trace something to make your shape or to cut it out freehand. Personally, I'm going to do a circle, and I'm going to trace around my plate with my pencil and then cut it out. So once you have your shape cut out, the next thing you want to do is figure out where you are going to put your hole to insert your yarn or string to make the actual piece hangable. So as you can see, I've marked an X in pencil, and I'm going to be punching my hole through there. If you have a hole punch, that is the easiest option. If you don't, you can do what I'm going to do, and that is to poke a small hole with a safety pin and then follow through with a ballpoint pen to actually make the hole. So I started my hole with my safety pin. You can actually also use a thumbtack. And then I just popped the tip of my ballpoint pen through the little hole that I made. And then it will kind of make these strange stick outs on the other side. You can usually kind of pull them off or cut them off if you want those to go away. But you now have your little hole in the top of your hangable. And the next step is to go ahead and figure out what exactly your design is going to look like. I recommend placing your poem first, and we all know, I think by now, that I like to go ahead and pencil in my words before I start anything. So I went ahead and penciled in my words, and then I went ahead and sketched in sort of the outline of the design that I am wanting. So as you can see, I sort of put my poem up here in a focal position in a way that it's not going to be disrupted by this little sun decal that I'm going to be drawing in here. You can put your poem anywhere you want, be creative with it. I prefer to be able to read my poem clearly when I look at things like this, but you know, it's up to you. You can sneak your poem into the background if you like that. So I'm just going to go ahead and color this in a little bit. So I did my first layer here in this sort of sunset pattern in these water-based markers. And then I filled in the gaps with some colored pencils, just like this one. And so the last thing to do is to put your yarn through your little punched out hole. And you are done, and you are ready to hang up your poem.
Alright, and then as always, my reading of the poem that I designed for you guys today. So this is a haiku again, and the first line is above the deep blue, and that's 5 syllables. The second line is waves crest into peachy stars, and that's 7 syllables. And then the last line is 5 syllables again, morning meets the sea. So altogether, that is above the deep blue, waves crest into peachy stars, morning meets the sea. Thanks, guys.